We've already talked about variants in earlier videos, but there is one more useful feature that we're going to cover now. Variants that we've created before are all static, where all animatable states are predefined and never change. So now let's see how we can pass some custom data to variants and make them more dynamic. To demonstrate that, we'll create a nice transition for thumbnails and make them fade in one by one. So first I'll open grid component, import variants type from frame of motion, and create a new variants variable. This variant will have only two states: hidden, that will set opacity to 0, and visible, that will set it back to 1. Now we can connect it to thumbnail component by setting variants to variants, initial to hidden, and animate to visible. When we save the changes and page reloads, we can briefly see how thumbnails fade in all at once. To make them appear one by one, we can use a custom prop. Custom prop can take any arbitrary value and pass it down to our variants. This value can be a number, string, object, anything we want. And to access it from within the variant, we'll need to update its signature. Right now each variant is an object representing some animation state, but we can replace it with a function that returns the same object. The function will take a single argument, which will be our custom value that we pass here. So to make thumbnails appear one by one, we'll need to delay transition of each thumbnail depending on its index in the array. So let's take the current index of the element into index variable and pass it as a custom property. This index will be passed to a variant function here, and we know it will be a number. So now we can add a transition property to visible variant and set delay to 0.1 multiplied by index. This way each image will have a delay 0.1 second longer than the one before it, and we'll get a nice stagger effect. Now let's make it more interesting. The stagger animation takes a bit too long, so let's make thumbnails appear in sets of 3 so that they fade in row by row. It's pretty easy to achieve with a bit of math, so instead of just multiplying by index, we'll divide index by 3 and round it down. This way the delay will be increased by 0.1 seconds every 3 items, which is exactly what we want. Let's save the changes and check the result. This animation looks pretty good, so now let's see how we can use custom variants to fix the issue we have in the carousel. If we open the model, we can see that the carousel items always slide in from the right, whether we navigate to the right or to the left. We can fix that by using custom variants. To make sure we slide in carousel items from the right direction, we'll need to have access to new direction value inside our variants. Right now it's only available in the scope of paginate method, so first we'll need to preserve it in the component state. Let's update our state variable so that it holds two values, index and the direction. We'll also need to distract it here and make sure that we set both index and new direction inside paginate function. Now we can set custom property and pass the direction in there. Since we'll be using our custom value for exit animations as well, it is important to also set custom prop on animate presence component. Finally, we need to adjust our enter and exit variants. I'll update their signatures to use functions and add direction argument of type number. When we navigate to the left, direction argument will be negative, and when we navigate to the right, it will be positive. So now we can use direction value to properly position carousel items for slide in and slide out effects. So for enter animation, I'll set x to -500 if direction is less than 0, and to 500 otherwise. For exit animation, we want the opposite effect, so I'll just copy the condition and flip the signs. Now everything's in place, so we can save the changes and confirm that the carousel has the correct behavior.